To listen to this story, click Listen Online at the top of the page. You can find previous stories here. Sean Hayes told his friend Brian Mitchell he needed to meet with him right away. Mitchell was a prosperous, longtime resident of Elkhart, KS, population of 2,000, and Hayes was the president of Elkhart-based Heartland Tri-State Bank. Heartland was the pride and joy of the small farming town that was hours away from the nearest city. After wrestling back ownership from a large banking group, the 36 local shareholders of the bank relied on Hayes to blend his financial skills and understanding of agriculture to run a smooth, unexciting bank that made loans locally and paid out its earnings each year to the shareholders. Mitchell wondered what bank president Hayes wanted, since not much in Elkhart was urgent. Hayes made it quick. "I need $12 million and I will pay you back $13 million next week." Hayes pulled out his phone and showed Mitchell the $40 million that was in his crypto account and explained how he needed to send $12 million more to the account to recover all the funds. Mitchell told Hayes that Hayes was being scammed, and Mitchell wanted no part of it. It turns out that Hayes was being scammed, and the total losses from funds Hayes sent to the scammers was more than $50 million. In the world of crypto, Hayes was the victim of what is known as a pig butchering scheme. In such a scheme, the target, like Hayes, is offered larger and larger opportunities to send more money to be converted into fake crypto assets. The schemes usually start small, and each escalation fattens the pig before slaughter. Hayes started by cleaning out his daughter's $6,000 college savings fund, then diverted funds from his local church where he preached, as well as the investment club he ran. As the money man and most trustworthy guy in town, this was easy for Hayes. The initial entry into a pig butchering scam is usually through an unsolicited online relationship. The scammers have the data and know if they send a million emails or LinkedIn requests with an attractive picture of a male or female financial advisor in it and offer to open up the riches of the crypto world, that a few dozen people will click and some of them will be sucked into the scam. The scammers kept up the escalations, and before long, Hayes was wiring millions from his Heartland's accounts to the scammers, who promised that each additional amount would buy more of the fake crypto. The account statements that Hayes could pull up on his phone had to be accurate, right? Hayes circumvented his own bank's wiring policies and kept sending money until his board fired him and put an end to it all. Even in his last board meeting, Hayes appeared confident that if the bank just released several more millions to the scammers, all would be well. In a courtroom full of angry bank shareholders and community members, many of which lost all of their retirement savings, the judge threw the book at Hayes and sentenced him to more than 24 years in prison, the maximum allowable sentence. In his statement to Hayes, the judge summed it up. "You knew better. You were not a fool." Key takeaways. At what point does a person stop and realize he made a mistake? Is it after the kid's college fund or after tens of millions embezzled from his employer? Watch out. The online scammers are really good. I personally know 2 different people who were taken for more than $1,000 each. Believe nothing. Even living in a remote corner of Kansas, Hayes could not escape FOMO. And worse, he believed in what he was doing right until the bitter end. Things I Think About Mount Rushmore in South Dakota took 14 years to complete and is named after New York attorney Charles Rushmore, who once asked a guide the name of the mountain in the distance. This was before it was carved with the faces of Presidents Washington, Lincoln, Jefferson, and Teddy Roosevelt. The guide replied it didn't yet have a name, so we'll call it Mount Rushmore. Recommended reading: The Hidden DNA of Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and Google Pandora's Lab's 7 Stories of Science Gone Wrong, Bad Bloodful Account of the Theranos Fraud, The Psychology of Money Lessons on Money and Life. I have given this book to a dozen people. 13 Days First-Person Account of the Cuban Missile Crises, written by Robert F. Kennedy, Sr. Also, a good movie. Hard Drive: Bill Gates and the Making of Microsoft. Conspiracy of Fools True, story of the entanglements between government and business, the deaths and the greed brought about by the Enron collapse. See the full reading list here.